Hello and welcome to Horseplayer Happy Hour. We're in the playoffs, round 2, where today in our Horseplayer Happy Hour game, we've got 40 players remaining. We're going to winnow this field down to 20. Next week, those 20 will compete. The top 10 will advance to our final table. And then in 2 weeks' time, we're going to award a Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge seat to one of those 10 people. A lot of other stuff going on, too. We've got another Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge qualifier. We did so well last week with our Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge qualifier, $189, with all of the VIG, as it were, going to charity. Our friends at Horseplayers.com and the Breeders' Cup decided, hey, let's run that again. And we did that. And we got so that's also happening. And we're raising a lot of money here for our Thoroughbred Aftercare charities, the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, and of course, our friends also over at the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation. So lots of good stuff happening. Craig, we will take that leaderboard back because I'm going to run through the 20 players. Maybe you can encourage our co-host with the dodgy Wi-Fi to see if he can find something slightly better for himself. We've got a couple of co-hosts who will be joining me. This will not be like the Finger Lakes show the other day where it was just me talking. I got away with that one because that was about 16 minutes long. I'm not sure anybody wants to hear me bloviate for 90 minutes, though I could do it. Literally have this stuff in my blood, people. Put a microphone in front of me, and we'll have some fun. Great time to ask some questions. We might need those sooner rather than later if our co-hosts don't end up showing up. Oh, there's one of them right there, looking well as ever.
I've been listening to you jibber jabber about Finger Lakes and all that jazz.
Well, we don't need you just yet because I'm going to roll through these 20 names, and then we're going to officially bring you in. Consider yourself in the green room. Okay, so here's how it works. I'll tell you, Michelle. I'll tell the audience one more time. We started this week with 40 players. The top 20, we have 3 races left in this contest. The top 20 are going to advance to next week's game, where 20 players will then become 10. And then in our final week of Horseplayer Happy Hour this season, of those 10, one will win a $10,000 Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge seat. So there's a lot of stuff on the line. And we got some people doing pretty well, starting with Steven Dudnoff, 4730, the top mark right now. Then some other very familiar names from the contest world. A recent, when I say recent, it was probably 5 years ago, now to be fair. But NHC Rookie of the Year, Pete Dressens. He was a little old to be a rookie then, but he's on the leaderboard now. Dylan Donnelly, speaking of NHC success, a very close second in the tour last year. Jim Sebas, great to see his name up there, man who knows everything about whiskey and smoking and sous vide cooking. I know these people. These are my people, Michelle. Don Marquardt up there, one of our regulars. Matt Vagvolgi from InTheMoneyPodcast.com. CJ Arrigo, Joe Solito, Chris Couples, Mark Henderson, Gregory Lewis, John Kilpatrick. That's the first 12 spots right now. And we'll scroll down to see the rest of them. Todd Van Dree, who's been very supportive of all our endeavors here. Daniel Edwards, Derek Vogt, Paul McClellan. Derek Vogt actually with 2 entries in there. What an edge that would be if he could keep 2 going forward. Joe Solito, again, another 2-entry guy, and Don Marquardt, another 2-entry guy. And then we're rounding out the top 20 right now with John Bull and that cut line 1060. So everybody, even if you're on 40th with 0, it's all to play for here. You just got to get in the top 20 to continue play another day. Okay, you heard her voice before. We'll now bring her in for real. Extremely pleased to be joined once again on these In the Money / Breeders' Cup airwaves by the great Michelle Yu. Michelle, how are things?
Oh, I'm all right, Pete. Hanging in there.
Good. You getting excited?
I feel more purple, man.
Well, I've got purple in the hat. I set my light.
No purple sitting. Purple's just like not my really. I like specifically buy an outfit for Breeders' Cup every year that has purple. I should have thought to wear purple. Sorry.
That's okay.
I've got like pink-ish eyeshadow.
Yeah, you could almost get that eyeshadow in off the goalpost. Just like if you told me the way color appears on camera. Like for example, in the Brooklyn bunker, that's bright purple, and on the camera it looks blue. So you could say,
my shirt is actually purple then.
How excited are you for this Breeders' Cup coming up?
I'm actually so excited for this Breeders' Cup. I think it's going to be a really great rendition. I feel like for not every year do we have like really great 3-year-olds and older horses combined. So I think we're going to have that. We've obviously got some really intriguing Europeans coming over. So I think that that's super cool. And I think that we have like really great East versus West battles in multiple divisions. So I think it's going to be awesome.
I love that point about the 3-year-old specifically. I can't remember a year when I was so intrigued by the chances of the 3-year-olds potentially to win the sprint,
You
the
mean
mile,
Medina
and the
Spirit?
classic.
You just mean Medina Spirit, right? Just Medina Spirit?
We're
You mean
back.
my Kentucky Derby pick, Medina Spirit?
It was one of the more famous moments in podcast history. Your very unique way of picking Medina Spirit. I know you're a huge fan of that horse. I wasn't so sure after the comeback race, but I got to say, on the clock, the final time, last time through, he is looking like a serious contender. Of course, I don't know he's going to get the pace scenario he needs with that gorilla Knicks Go in there laying down fast fractions. Do you really think this horse has what it takes to win a race like the Breeders' Cup Classic?
He's got heart. I think that that's like the most important thing to have, and he's got a ton of heart, right? Like, even though he has done his best running on the front end, I'm still not convinced that he has to. Like, if he's close, I feel like he could catch a horse, but if he is on the front and someone's looking him in the eye, he is going to belly down and give you everything. Everything.
What? How do you now? Knicks Go as a horse. You were actually the first one that I ever heard make the very astute observation about him back when we were talking about the race in Saudi. I think it was. You were the first person to make the observation that's become like a thing, that this is a horse who's better when he gets to do the 2-turn gimmick as opposed to the 1-turn. How impressed with you are with where Knicks Go is in his form cycle now, and what do you think his prospects are come the big day?
I mean, obviously he is back to his winning ways because they've got him back around 2 turns, and that's all a good thing. Like you said, though, he wins races and the way he trains, right? Like, let him go. I think that's what Brad Cox did differently that made him like the Knicks Go that we know now, is he just lets him go. He lets him train. He lets him run. He lets him feel good. So I think that he does only have the one way to go. And like you said, this year, I think that there's going to be other horses up there pressing him. So he's not going to be able to just go and shake them off without really laying down some fractions.
It's going to be interesting to see. I can see a meltdown scenario. I wonder who the beneficiary of it will be. I know that in market terms, it sure feels like Essential Quality is the one people have been gravitating towards. But I'm
commented. I'm going to hate on Essential Quality. Like, I cheer, yay, Brad, great, good dog. I'm like happy for them, right? Like, I love the connections, and the horse is legitimate, and he keeps winning races. But like, he's just not dynamic. Like, I really like a dynamic horse. Like, I prefer to see like Midnight Bourbon keep getting beat, like throwing down. I feel like this horse like never tries. He just like, okay, I'm gonna win another race.
I don't know, never tries. What about that stretch run in the Travers where he really had to get down on his belly and run down that tactically advantaged Midnight Bourbon?
I don't know. Still,
I'll say this.
That was the first race I was impressed by his fortitude. How about that?
I can accept that. I will say this. To your point, I'm not sure I see the reason for the massive difference in price in the international markets right now between Essential Quality and a runner like Hot Rod Charlie, who looks to me to just be getting better.
I mean, Hot Rod Charlie, I feel like might be getting better, but I also feel like he doesn't have like, his ceiling might not be as good as some of these. You know what I mean? And I love Hot Rod Charlie, and I've been cheering him on and like love the connections. Like, I wanted him to win in Pennsylvania and everything, but I'm just a little concerned that like even like the best Hot Rod Charlie is it good enough to beat some of these? Because like in the Belmont, that was a great race. He ran the better race and still didn't win. You know what I mean? So that's my concern with him. But I love him and would cheer him on. If we turn for home and Hot Rod Charlie's in front, I will be jumping up and down and screaming for him. Is Mishriff going to come for the Classic? Because I keep him up the number 1 on my poll.
No, it sounds like it's the turf or bust is what the camp is saying. We'll see, though. Things have a way of getting audibled. Speaking of audibles, we now have a man with us who we're very happy could
I didn't know we were supposed
us.
to be wearing sunglasses right now.
I don't know about the supposed to, but they do suit him. Here. A man who's called many an audible in his day coaching flag football. He's the people's champion, Jonathon Kinchen. JK, what's up?
Yeah, I wanted to keep these hater blockers on in case Michelle had some slick to say today.
You know it's coming. You were in the green room for a minute. Did you hear our little chat about the Breeders' Cup Classic? I know it's extremely early, so early, in fact, that we're going to have a show next week called Way Too Early Breeders' Cup Predictions. But along those lines, do you have an early thought on the Breeders' Cup Classic? You know, I know you start planning your Breeders' Cup betting challenge assault. Ran second last year.
This is JK. This is JK. Hey, Brad, tell me what I should do here.
Who do you like in the race from this far out, JK?
I don't know. I like Nick's Go, and Michelle's got a lot to say, so maybe she'll bet me $1,000 heads up with any horse that she wants.
I'm too poor. I don't get paid as much as you.
Crickets.
No, not crickets. Very vocal.
I think Nick's going to be tough. I mean, look, if Hot Rod Charlie runs at him at the 3/8 pole, he could set up for somebody else, but he's going to be far in front. You know, one of the good things about Nick's Go, they don't do that annoying try to go 48 with a speed horse thing. They lay it down. I'll be shocked if he doesn't go 46 to the half in the Classic, going 1.25 miles. In the way that his pace lines lay out, I think he'll keep running. So, you know, I think the race will be won or lost at the 3/8 pole. If Hot Rod Charlie is in position to run it, Nick's Go at the 3/8 pole and make him work for 3/8 of a mile, then sure, maybe a horse like Essential Quality can run him down. And then the other situation is, you know, a lot of times we listen to trainers and riders give their post-race interviews, and they say things, and we believe some and we don't believe others. But if what Louis Saez and Brad Cox say is true about Essential Quality being the smart, extremely smart horse and basically does what he has to do, if he's got more in the tank, then I guess he could be dangerous, but he's going to have to get faster from a speed figure standpoint.
One thing I'll say, and I wanted to get your take on this. So we watched Medina Spirit's comeback race at Del Mar together, and I don't know which of us was less impressed. But the other day, I mean, now I know it was an easy pace, and I think he was with the track profile, but he put up a real speed figure, and there's no denying that the horse is tough and a fighter. I have to think that him looking like a horse again definitely diminishes. I don't think he's going to beat Nick's Go, but I think he could help take the starch out of Nick's Go in a way that leaves him vulnerable late to Essential Quality or one of the late runners. What did you think of Medina Spirit's last run? And do you think he can have I'm not saying if he can win or not, but if he can at the very least, have a big factor on how the Classic plays out?
He's the type of horse that if he runs at Nick's Go at the 3/8 pole, he's going to run last. I mean, I don't think he's that quality of horse. I don't think that was the toughest race that he just won the Awesome again. He ran fast enough that day, but, in a comfortable way. He won't be comfortable in the Classic. I'm going to go 1.25 miles against Nick's Go. So, I'll probably say the horse has no chance and he'll beat me like he did in the Derby, but I'm not crazy about him. I prefer a lot of other horses in the spot.
Let's talk.
Are you saying that you think the Lucas Classic was a better race than the Awesome again?
No, I think the Nick's Go's a better horse.
Okay.
We'll put a pin in this. We can come back and we can fight about Medina Spirit for later, but I do want to talk about this race at Belmont. We've got 3 races left in this contest, all to play for. And I should mention, and we'll check in on the leaderboard also of our qualifier. We got another BCBC seat being given away there. But I'm disappointed at the horse that I was wanting to talk about. I probably should have predicted that that this one would have caught as much money, because now I'm finding myself wanting to scramble and come up with a new pick here on the fly with the favorite bet into 8-5. But how about either of you? Do either of you guys have a chance to look at this race? And does anybody have a thought on this 7th race at Belmont?
For some reason, I went all the way back and handicapped from Belmont too. So I don't know what memo I got that was completely wrong. I was like, this is a lot of races in this time frame, but whatever. I liked the 1 actually. My Roxy Girl. I am on the right day, right? I have to be.
You got it. Okay. That's My Roxy Girl. 7-1 on the rail.
On the rail. I feel like breaking from the rail. She should show some speed. Ran good on wet and fast. I didn't know what the track was going to be like today just because it's New York, and honestly, I don't pay that close of attention. So I was thinking on the off case that there's rain, then
you don't have weather.com in California?
It doesn't work. Seriously, the other day I looked at my thing and it was cold thunderstorms. I looked outside and I'm like, it's 90 for sure. 90 and sunny out my window. But I just thought that with the exception of that 7 furlong race being a little bit too challenging, this horse has run well at Belmont, has actually run really well at the distance. And again, from the rail could possibly be a speed presence in here. First off, the claim for Juan Vasquez, who's 21% from that angle. I like a consistent horse. I felt like this mare was super consistent. I thought you'd get a decent enough price, and she's spot on her morning line right now.
I could see it for sure, and I think that's a solid price. I think I'll pivot to Saratoga Beauty. Should be positioned further back. Gets a new trainer every time. Very popular at the claim box. That often tells you you've got a sound runner, if nothing else. And there's a world in which this could set up nicely for a little off the pace run. I just feel like the 3-2 on Awesome Indra just feels short enough, even though I do think she'll get a good trip. And I'll definitely be messing around with Saratoga Beauty in, I was almost going to say forecast, but on English TV too much, in exactas with the 1. The 3 with the 1-7 is basically how I'm going to play it, and the 1-7 with the 3. JK, how do you see this one?
Yeah, I mean, on form, the 7 is the horse to beat, but the problem is the horse is just over bet. I think it probably has a lot to do with the run that Tom Worley's currently on. I think
Fair point.
Last I looked, he was 7 for 16, 44%. And he's drawn well. I mean, there's everything that you got to like about Awesome Indra. But like I said, even from a form standpoint, this is the horse I want. The only other alternative that I really thought made a lot of sense was the 4 Sweet Mia, but that horse is overbet too. So if I'm deciding between 2 overbet horses and I don't want to just throw away money trying to pick a horse because I don't want to pick the favorite, just give me the favorite. I think the 7 Awesome Indra is going to be hard to beat. I wouldn't encourage anyone to bet the horse to win at 9-5, but for the sake of this contest, and the 7 is who I would go with.
All right, fair enough. We're post time now for this one. Now,
what about the 2? No one likes the 2 in here. I mean, coming out of the same race as my Roxy girl off of the bench, so gets a race under the belt now. You're going to get Jose Ortiz aboard. Winless on the year, yes, but I mean, maybe was just like trying to find out where she fit. The only drawback I'd say is maybe that was like an off track that she ran good on, but she's never won on an off track either. So I could make the case either way. And it seems to be she's been training well coming out of that race.
Second off the long layoff, I'm always a sucker for that. And that's certainly a case with number 2, No Deal, who is catching like kind of the right amount of money, I'd say. You know, that's a horse that 5-1 or 6-1 now, but there still might be some signal in that. I'd rather go in that direction, I think, than land with either of the favorites, even though I agree with JK that they're the horses to beat. In terms of wagering strategy here, Jonathan, if you were forced to play the race, what would you do?
Single a 7 and play the pick 3.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, to answer Michelle's question, the only issue I have with 2 really is that I just don't, watching New York as much as we do, I just don't like taking horses off of Wayne Potts. And then I'm not trying to be ugly, but I don't even know who this trainer is. Is the trainer 0 for 6 lifetime?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is he?
Yeah,
I was almost vibing that it was maybe. I don't want to say and be wrong. It does sound like a jerk, but it almost seemed like one of those things where it was somebody associated with the previous trainer potentially.
Oh, like maybe it's like a day situation.
Maybe it is. I'm not sure about that, but when you see the 0 for 6, and I've seen a lot, there's a bunch of pots to Lucas runners in the next.
And the horse wasn't claimed last time, right? So you might be right about that.
So I think it might. Well, we'll see. I mean, it'll actually be an interesting pointer for the weekend because you do see the situation come up a few times. I think on the Friday and Saturday cards. We're not going to make you call this race, Michelle, but we are going to make you call a race before we get out of here today. You take a look at which of the next 2.
I'm just so glad I'm not sitting in the gutter when I do it this time.
Oh my God, that was another great moment in the history of the show. What were you in front of the Tin and Lint in Saratoga, and you're like dropped your phone and
I was on my ear pod and it fell out like into the street and I couldn't move to go get it because there was like no phone service if I like stepped 1 foot out of the street. So I'm like people like walking by like she has your iPod there and I'm like I know I'm doing a show.
This was pretty great. This was pretty great stuff. We really should have excised that and popped it up on the YouTube channel. Yeah, my Roxy girl getting a nice little split there and going on with it. We'll see if anything's coming late. If that's
my Roxy girl hits the front 7-1.
Not a bad pick. Let's see who comes second here. Can it be my 3? Can that be is that my 3 finishing down the center? Can I catch this exacta? That would be not a bad thing. Just don't hang and we should be all right. Something's coming late, but I think too late. Uh-oh, I could get tagged here. I'm going to get tagged, aren't I, on the inside? Let's see. Yeah, no good. Oh, that was frustrating. Annika Gold, not one that I had figured in my reckoning of the race. But yeah, I mean, my Roxy Girl just blew that race apart and scores out over those overbet favorites in that spot. And that's a contest horse that I imagine is going to be pretty popular in both events. It is interesting, the strategy, Jonathan, for the people playing in the 40 runner contest where you just have to be in the top 20. I think a lot of people would just be inclined to get off of the typical contest horse they're going to play and just go with a favorite in that situation. It'll be interesting to see how represented a horse like My Roxy Girl, who I imagine will be very well represented in the qualifier. Be interesting to see the compare and contrast between those two events, where obviously in the qualifier, 1 in 65 get the prize. In the other one, 20 of 40 get the prize. I would imagine that's got to affect the horse you're going to choose to pick in almost every situation.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think to your question about the 40 just needed to kind of get to that top 50%. These contests, in my opinion, are always about pick and play what you like. But I think even more so in a situation like that. I mean, if you like a 1 to 9 shot, just take those $2 and move on.
Right. I mean, the $2 are going to be a big difference in the cut line here. Have you played in much in the way of contests, Michelle? How important of a thing to your play are handicapping contests? It seems like something you'd be good at the way you look at the world.
I don't play a lot of contests. I really only play like free contests. I played 5 contests last year. I played the one that we won, or 2 years ago, the one that we won, and then a bunch of others that I didn't. And then this year, I don't think I've played any. Last year, I played several, but they're only like the cheapies, like either like the free feeders or like the $20. I don't play any other contests, mostly because for me, it really has to be pick and pray. And I feel like there's not a ton of them that I see that are like in my price range. So because I'm working, so I can't like sit there and update and play, based on the odds or whatever. So if I played pick and pray in like a change your bet whenever you want contest, I'm at a disadvantage. So I just don't end up doing it.
No, it makes sense. That's right. I momentarily had forgotten that sort of the predecessor to Horseplayer Happy Hour was that charity, the pre-pandemic charity contest we did that you walked away with all the spoils. We've got let me give some shout outs to people in the comments. It's always fun to do. We've got Perfect Power posting a ticket, a nice little future ticket, 9-2 on Life is Good in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I was looking and didn't see that. That's a wonderful price as far as I'm concerned. JK, I imagine that would be a buy for you as well.
Yeah, not if they ride him like they did last time, though. He needs to be more aggressively ridden. I don't think he wants to invite others into the race. The Kelso wasn't the toughest race in the world, but Life is Good has that club in his bag. I mean, Irad's not typically the type of rider that's going to let one roll like that, but Todd appreciates speed. I'd imagine the tactics will be a little bit more aggressive come the first Saturday in November.
Let's do a few shout-outs. Lakeisha, hello. Tom, hello. Michael Bryant is in the house. Good to see him here as well. Another one of our regulars. Kenneth is a big fan of Michelle, aren't we all? Maximiliano, good afternoon right back to you. Eric and Lenora and Steve and Marcos, good to have everybody aboard. Hit us up with your Breeders' Cup questions. We've got a bunch of handicapping to do, and we're going to get to that. But we should have time for some questions here at some point during the show as well. Let's do some leaderboards and then let's do some handicapping. And we can look at both leaderboards this time around. Craig, if you're game.
BRB.
JK going to refill his mug for happy hour. Stephen Dudenoff, John Kilpatrick, Daniel Edwards, Pete Dressens, Dylan Donnelly, Don Marquardt, Trey Crump, Jim Sebas, PJ Priskenis getting up there, Andrew Uretsky, Peter Savage, Truls Engebretson, David Browning, our overall winner. He's already got one seat to the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, looking to double up. Don Marquardt with the second entry in there. Matt Vagvolgi hanging in tough. CJ Arrigo, Joe Salito, Chris Couples, Mark Henderson, and Gregory Lewis. Right now, Todd Van Dree on the bubble, 10 cents out of advancing, but all to play for with 2 races to go. Craig, let's take a look at that overall qualifier leaderboard, and then we will.
Where's JK at right now? Where does he live?
I hear some sound effects in the background.
It looks like Kentucky.
I mentioned the sound effects and he went right to mute. I assume he's getting a beer.
Yeah, it sounded like a beer.
So Craig, for there's a qualifier going on now. So if you go on the Horse Tourneys leaderboard and you find the leaderboard for the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge qualifier as opposed to the playoffs, that's the one that we want. So one down from where you are, basically. There you go. That's gonna be the right one. Ronald Tang in great position right now with 80. I'll just read through the top 5 for now. Bob Montgomery, Jorge Cruz, Aedo, Eric Kurzal, and Christopher Olson. Again, though, all to play for. I see a lot of different numbers over there that people have in Belmont 8 and 9. So good stuff happening. It normally we take this happy hour thing a little more seriously on this show. JK, do you have a beverage there? You do. Okay. You at least are doing it right. Michelle and I are falling behind that. You do have the 3-hour time difference.
To be fair, I got on this at 12:30. I literally walked in the door from the farm. I still have on riding pants underneath. Okay. And
no criticism.
I was like in a hat. So this is like not ideal time for happy hour for me.
I have no real excuse except for the fact that we're gonna wrap up, and then I've got like 2 more shows to record tonight. So I decided that the drinking would wait until a little bit later on. Let's talk about some of the racing.
Riding pants on the can't you show?
Hey, you know what? If I win the next race, I'll go have a glass of champagne. How about that?
I like it, and that'll put you in perfect.
Mow the yard now. Jeepers creepers.
Perfect situation to then call the nightcap after the glass of champagne.
Yes.
That's what I think. That's what I think should be happening there. Did you guys look at Keeneland tomorrow? Do you
did. I understood the assignment.
Okay, well, maybe JK did too. I just didn't want to throw him under the bus. Great.
I'm going to be doing a lot of muting because the neighbor's mowing, so this is going to be interesting.
Where are you, JK?
Undisclosed location.
Can you text me in the comments? I just want to know. It looks so green.
Yeah, I'll text you.
Okay.
It is verdant.
It looks like Kentucky, but I mean, it could just be like bougie New York. I don't know. It's so green though. I'm dying to know. I'm like waiting. Come on, comment.
Definitely bougie somewhere. That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say about it. Let's talk about Keeneland tomorrow. We got opening day. I'm going to be on Sky, which I'm psyched about, picking up a shift over there. We got 2 interesting prep races for Breeders' Cup purposes. Great stake races in their own right. And then, of course, Saturday is completely loaded at Keeneland with the 5 stakes, all stakes, pick 5. Also want to give a shout out to, I was hoping we could handicap it on the show, but Sunday isn't drawn yet. There's the 2-day pick 6 happening this weekend. Folks, do note, it's going to be listed as a separate wagering event. It's not going to be listed under Keeneland when you look at Saturday. It'll be like right under Keeneland when you like choose your track on your ADW. You'll have to choose the 2-day pick 6. Anyway, we'll have coverage on that somewhere on the network, but we're not going to do it on this show. But we are going to talk about these races on Friday and Saturday at Keeneland, starting with race number 8 on opening day, 5:10 Eastern for the Grade 2 Phoenix. And Michelle, very curious to know what you came up with in here.
I wasn't even listening to anything you said right now, Pete. I was busy texting with you.
I just cued you to talk about the Phoenix. You didn't have to hear any of the specifics.
All right. So looking at the Phoenix, when I was like paging through, I felt like, you know what? There's just not like a clear-cut standout in here. And there is a ton of speed. So because of that, I thought maybe I'm going to go with the Mike Maker horse endorsed in here because even though he hasn't won in 7 races this year, he's definitely been knocking on the door. Class level is definitely going to be a question mark for me, but I just feel like the pace really sets up well for endorsed.
Yeah, I hear that for sure. I feel like endorsed and Aloha West will be the ones to benefit if they just go hammer and tongs from the bell. I thought Special Reserve really wants to stalk and pounce more than he wants to be like right in the
lead,
of that early pace. So I thought tactically he might have an advantage. Not a sexy pick. I mean, this is a horse listed at 9 to 5 on the morning line, and that's probably going to be accurate. But based on the recent form and figures, and I just think Rosario should suit the horse and what he wants to do in this spot too. That's the direction I went in. But I totally see your case and would be definitely for my verticals using both the 3 endorsed and the 5 Aloha West.
If you're going to take one Mike Maker, you have to take 2 Mike Makers, right?
It's probably not the worst idea. And you make a good point about endorsed, who, was closing very well the last day without any setup, and he might get a great setup here. And sometimes, a horse that you're worried about, are they going to class up or not? you give them a favorable pace situation, and it helps them get over that hurdle. How do you see it, JK? Are we on the right track with the maker runners in this spot, or do you see it another way?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough race. I mean, I think the one thing I know for sure is a one quick tempo is not going to win. And none of these horses are going to win the Breeders' Cup Sprint. So I know that much. I agree with Michelle to endorse, absolutely. Mucho, I think, is interesting. I agree with you about Special Reserve. Aloha West can win the race. I guess the one that I was the most attracted to from what I think will happen from a price standpoint and ability is the 4 Just Might. I think Michelle Lovell does an outstanding job. No one talks about her a lot, right? She's in the Midwest. We don't see her that often on the West Coast or the East Coast, but she's quietly at 18% this year. She's 17% as a trainer in her career. A lot of people that I respect that pay a lot of attention to Kentucky racing. Her name's come up to me when I was like asking for a friend, who would be a good claiming trainer, someone that you would claim you think you could move up with. And I've gotten her name quite a bit. And I just think this horse is cool. I love horses that can do it on both surfaces. And like I mentioned, it's a tactical horse. And a lot of times in these races, the speed of the speed is the one that you kind of want to lean on. And I just thought that Just Might will offer a little bit of value in any multi-race bets I'm playing. This is a spread race for me, though. I thought it was really tough.
Fair enough. Yeah, and those are good points about it's great when you can get something show like this. It's one thing to give a pick. It's another thing also to people who don't necessarily pay attention to the Midwest going to be looking at Keeneland to have Michelle Lovell a little bit on the radar. That might help people throughout the course of this meet and beyond. Let's move on.
This is my tally of times I'm going to agree with JK.
Do you think you'll get to do one of the horizontal?
I like that one.
What's the over under on getting to the horizontal line to make
the diagonal?
5?
Yeah, right.
No
the hash mark.
No shot.
Yeah. Is there any chance of getting to 5? I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, we are on for a little bit, so you never know. I've been so much nicer to JK.
Yeah,
since he took me to dinner.
I'm a little disappointed, actually. This is the magic of this is good to know. Though I feel like we went to dinner in Lexington, and I think I paid, and you're not any nicer to me. So what am I doing wrong?
The food there was terrible.
All right, I'll do better. I'll do better in
I
California.
The restaurant that we went to that night was horrific. I literally couldn't even leave there before I had to write a review about the server that didn't care about us and wanted us to leave. You just liked it because they had 150 bourbons, but
I'm easy like that. I'm easy.
The food.
All right, we'll try again in a few weeks' time.
The other thing we should point out while we are getting started on Keeneland is tomorrow, Friday, is their debut of this new Pick 3, the All-Turf Pick 3. It starts in race 2 tomorrow. It's a $3 minimum, 15% takeout, and it's the last 3 turf races every day at Keeneland. I just, as a horse player, I always want to celebrate creativity and racetracks trying new things that appear to be horse player friendly. This does. The higher minimum, I think, it might not seem like it's horse player friendly to some of the smaller bankroll players, but I'm telling you, this puts some of the computer automated wagers at a little bit more of a disadvantage than you might think. It gives you a little bit of a better shot. And the 15% takeout, I think, fits well with this wager. So wanted to make sure we gave a little plug for that.
I'm glad you did. And so that's going to be every day, the last 3 turf races. We're going to be covering it over at InTheMoneyPodcast.com. Our man, Michael Domable, who may be watching, say hi in the comments if you are, Michael. Been very active with Horseplayer Happy Hour all season long. Ended up second on the tour and did a crackerjack job covering. He's been a lot of good work for us, but especially he was just ripping it up at Kentucky Downs. And he'll be covering that. Eric Solomon going to be looking at the late pick 5 most days. They'll be doing extra stuff for our plus service as well. We're going to have Keeneland covered left, right, and center. But of course, the featured race of opening day, and as I've joked many times, the source of my secret shame. I don't know if I've told you this story, Michelle. Of all the comments, we've had a lot of memorable things happen on these shows over the years. We've had you in the gutter from Saratoga. We've had me lacerating my leg in the early days of Horseplayer Happy Hour.
We had you in the bathroom.
Me in the bathroom. We had that incident as well. But the number one thing we've gotten comments about was the way that I butchered the pronunciation, approximately 2015, of Alcibiades. I don't even want to say it the wrong way because then I'm worried I'll start doing it Habitually? No, I can do it. I said, what did I say? Alcibiades or something like that.
No,
and,
you didn't.
I did. And it just like 17 emails and 4 voicemails and people who friendships destroyed. It was bad. It was bad. I think I finally clawed back. But anyway, the Alcibiades grade 1 action on this Keeneland opening day and a really interesting race. JK, I'm going to throw it in your direction and get a thought from you. Anything leap out at you here, or is this spread city again?
I'll do that thing where I just kind of start saying words. Yeah, I thought the Godolphin Cox horse, what do we call him that? Matarea?
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Okay.
Matarea.
I thought that horse looks pretty talented. Speed figure didn't come back all that quick, but did do a lot of early running. And so a lot of times when the final figure doesn't come back that as quick as I would like for it to, but I do see those early pace figures. To me, it's all about energy anyways, right? That's what the speed figure tells you, how much energy, how fast. Pace figure is another part of like how much energy, how fast. And so I just feel like being drawn where Matarea is, you get Joel Rosario, second time out, I feel like this horse could improve. And then the 4 Dream Lift was a horse that I was pretty impressed with on debut at Saratoga. Was wide last time, run all that well, but I thought had an excuse in the spin away. So another horse I thought I would get interested in getting around 2 turns for the first time. So I'll go with the outside Cox, the 7 Matarea, but I also think the 4 Dream Lift is interesting as well.
I was with you on Matarea. I thought the race was pretty strong. Supposed to be better with that race under the belt. And I think on pedigree, it's supposed to be a little bit better going longer. Appears, I haven't seen a clocker report or anything, but just looking at the tab, appears to have worked since. What do you say, Michelle? Do we get a second line for you agree with JK twice? No, she's shaking her head for those listening. I think we're going to have to post this as an audio pod as well, because we got this. There's already been some good stuff on here. So this will go up in the audio feed. So I'll have to cue the head shakes and stuff like that. Who wins the Alcibiades, Michelle?
I like the McPeak Runner to the outside, the 10 penny saver in here. Really, the pedigree says, run me long. And, she got that opportunity to run long on the dirt, and she crushed the field, looking good that day. Maybe you're going to say the quality wasn't great. Maybe you're going to tell me you don't love the time. I mean, I feel like JK always has excuses for this, but I just like the way that she did it, going that route of ground on the dirt. And to be fair, her dirt sprint wasn't terrible either. I always think that Kenny McPeak comes out guns a-blazing for Keeneland, so I like Penny Saver. And I'm really intrigued with the 11 Diamond Wow. Patrick Biancone going to be in there with this horse going a route of ground for the first time. You don't often, I feel like, see a lot of looking at Lucky's precocious, because I feel like they get better when they get older, but here you have a perfect 2-for-2 horse, 1 on turf, 1 got rained off, so it was on the main. I feel like can do a little bit of whatever you ask, so that's going to give Mike Smith some options, and he's going to need him breaking from that terrible outside post. So I just thought that this horse was really interesting because she should appreciate the stretch out. And, Patrick doesn't ship a lot of these horses in here not to run good. I feel like when Patrick comes to Keeneland too, he brings in the right horses and puts them in good spots.
It's a good pedigree point on looking at Lucky. What do you think, JK, of Penny Saver and Diamond Wow?
Well, I think the tough guy's gonna have to get that pin out, because I actually do like Penny Saver. So go with the little tally there. I wasn't gonna pick. If I start picking more than 2 horses, then I'm gonna get some comment out of you. Oh, who are you not gonna pick, man?
I'll put a separate list for when JK agrees with Michelle.
Yes, that's good. I like that. That's fair.
That's when JK agrees with Michelle.
Okay, so far we're 1-1. So we think that I guess Penny Saver on debut, I know it was going short, did show the ability to pass horses. I was just I get it. I just I wasn't sure what kind of trip she was going to get from out there. What kind of trip would you guys like to see?
A winning one.
Yeah. No, I mean, she's tactical enough, right? I mean, she should be able to work out a nice trip from out there. And remember, these are the mile and the 16th with the short stretch. So I think being in the clear is important. You got to do a lot of the running on the turn. And so I like horses that are drawn towards the outside.
This is where you play the video game, like when you're playing Gallop Racer and you're in the gate and you're like, right? And you like go out of the gate, and then when you get like your good position, like, okay, take a breath.
Now that's something I would really like to see on Twitch, by the way, is the head-to-head JK Michelle Yu Gallop Racer battles with the trash talk back and forth would be worth the price.
I don't have a headset on my Doohickey Bobber, but JK did get me to buy a video game for, I don't even know what device, but I bought it because he told me to. And I made my own little stable, and I've got a little like breeding thing and like some racehorses. But I don't think we've ever like gone head to head, but I'm ready for that. If someone can explain to me how to do it.
We'll talk with production meeting outside the show. We're going to make this happen, folks. This could be very
during COVID. I was trying to find something to do, and I moved on from that game. My friend Anthony Matera is pretty good at it. But a funny video game aside, if you ever want to get Angel Cordero going, ask him about the time that he got his Gallop Racer stable erased. He is still extremely angry about it.
He loves his video games, doesn't he?
Oh my gosh! At Angel Cordero's house, if you've never heard this before, he's got 2 TVs, one with racing on and one with video games, and that's all he does all day long is watch racing and play video games.
Sounds like your future writ large here, JK. What do you think?
I got 2 TVs. It's a must forever.
Before we move on from the Alcibiades, I just want to say a horse I'm really interested to see how she runs. Actually, and I might be betting her too, is number 8, Distinctly Possible. Just a maiden, but coming out of that race with gerrymandering and Amore, the 2 that ran second and third in the Frisette, I thought her race was pretty good, and I thought she shaped like one who's going to appreciate this added ground, and that's certainly the suggestion from the pedigree as well, being by Curlin out of a Medaglia d'Oro mare. So I think it's sort of doubly interesting as a bit of a line on the Frisette form, but also one who I think goes with a big chance in her own right. Can either of you see her if you squint?
I mean, it's Chad Brown, so you can't say like, no, I don't see it at all. But there were like 4 I liked better.
Yeah, I mean, the horse can win. I don't really need to squint to do it. I will say that she was 4-1 against Gerrymander that day. Gerrymander, if I'm not mistaken, came back and ran second in the Frisette.
Yep.
She ran third. Sue me. I think it's second, though.
She was second, and the other one, the one who was third in there was third. Yeah.
Yeah. So this horse actually has talent, right? I mean,
I want to play the game where JK says, this horse can't win.
Oh, you want to do that game?
Yeah.
Okay. The 5 can't win.
Okay.
There you go, giving us a 30-1 shot that can't win. Very, very helpful, JK. Thank you
Hey, look,
very much.
You should have given me a heads up in the email that we're going to have the segment.
To be fair, he told me the wrong times in the email, so I mean.
No, I got the times right in the second email. The first email.
But I know the first thing said Belmont like 2 to something else also, so like.
That was the races of the whole contest, but not during the live. Anyway, sorry. I do too many things. What can I tell you? It's a miracle I get here at all sometimes.
Pete, day 7 on the Peloton. I didn't see you today, big fella.
No, I'm actually going to be. I'll be on there later. I've got it all planned out. I've got doing an interview for this special Breeders' Cup project, actually, with, of all people, JK. You'll appreciate this because I know you're such a big Matt Chapman fan. I've got Matt Chapman lined up for after this, and then Tugel and I are doing baby talk a little bit later tonight. So between Chapman and Tugel, I will be on the Peloton if you want to hop on there and race me. I predict pain for you.
I'm not doing 2 days. I'll be enjoying a delicious meal at that point.
Have you gotten into this?
The Michelle Yu special?
What's the Michelle Yu special?
It's the spaghetti with the bolognese with a meatball on top.
You're making me too hungry here talking about this.
That seems like a rookie move.
So it's the best thing ever. I like ate the rest of mine at like 2:30 in the morning when I was leaving for the airport because I couldn't throw it away.
Let's talk about this race that's happening in 5 minutes, folks. You see it up there on the screen right now. JK, we're going to start with you. Had you been playing in the contest to advance you were in the 40 runner contest and you had to be in the top 20, who would you have used in this Belmont race and why?
I'm just trying to look at these prices real quick. Sorry. I'm going to answer that question in due time. I thought I want nothing to do with the 5 at all. Just go ahead and throw that out there. That horse can't win, Michelle.
Okay, there we go on a 9-2 shot. Doing much better now.
I've always kind of liked Irish Constitution. That was a horse, if I'm not mistaken, won first out for Ray Handel. Ray Handel only 6% with first-time starters, and someone in the comments, tell me if I'm right or wrong. I think that this is the first horse he ever won with first out was Irish Constitution.
Yeah,
last
that's
summer.
right.
And he's had 4 since then. The horse has shown some talent. I like outside draws, especially at Belmont, because I don't think losing ground there matters as much. I've heard lots of riders say that when you're on the turn, it's basically like you're just going straight. So I don't think there's a whole lot to losing ground in that situation. And I like the horse drawn towards the outside, has some tactical speed. So I like the 10 Irish Constitution, and I'll take the 7 or 2.
Fair enough. Michelle, who do you like in here?
Well, I liked the 10 as well, but I didn't like the price now. I liked the 8-1 morning line much better. So
I'll take a tally, though.
Yeah, make that tally.
Yeah,
I still think it
I'll
counts.
put a tally. Unfortunately, everything I like is pretty much chalk central. The 3 Honey Money, again, for this body, Lucas. Maybe okay. Or not Honey Money, sorry. The 3 the important one for Steve Asmussen, but is the favorite, so I can't go that direction. I'm going to wind up with the 1. Bye, hubby. Hello, money. That name's funny. Did win a big race last time out, going 1 mile and 1/8. I mean, why not cut back to 6 furlongs? That definitely sounds like what we should do. She is obviously taking a class drop. So I'm going to use her, although I think she'll probably be a little bit farther behind than we saw her in the Fleet Indian.
I like the horse you almost picked, the number 2 Honey Money. I thought made sense in this spot. This is a winning type of horse. Coming off a tricky trip. I thought she made 2 moves in there. I think she's solid, should be in the mix, has won stalking and pouncing. I think that might be the right recipe here. At the prices, I think 5-1 is square on Honey Money. So we got three different ideas here.
Why can't the 5 win, though?
Well, one at a time. JK, you started first. Michelle, you wait your turn.
Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I'll answer Michelle's question because she can't. The second thing I was going to say was the 1. I agree with you. So give me a tally on the 1 by hubby hello money. And the reason being is because, most people that are watching this are aware, but I think it's a tricky angle you can look at when you're coming back from Saratoga is horses can only go 9 or they can sprint. There's nothing in between. And I think so sometimes you can get a horse that shows up in a spot that they probably shouldn't be in. I don't even know if Hubby Hello Money should be going that far. Ran well enough that day. Might have had things her way, but I kind of like the cutback. I think she'll be finishing. So I'm with you there. What's the price? 6-1?
6-1.
There you go.
Yeah, we got some 1, 2, and messing around with the 1, 2, and 10 here, trying to beat the favorite.
I'm still surprised that JK thinks the 5 can't win Beautiful Karen. I thought that she was a contender and not a pretender in here.
No, this is just one of those deals where I can gain a little bit of equity if I say that she can't win. If she doesn't win, I look smart. And if she does win, I can just say, well, she was 5-1, so I took a chance. Sorry.
What do you have against? Who do you think is my fear in laying her at that price would be that on time form anyway, they have her clear. You don't think it's going to play out that way?
No, I thought she got a good trip last time, so this bee's trying to get me. I'm just trying to bet against her.
JK stung by a bee on the screen. This could be the new greatest moment. Put him full screen, Craig. I want to see this closely.
Do you see how close it was to my face?
Yeah,
it looks like you spit him out right now. That's Linda Rice's pet bee. It's coming after you.
Funny story. Yesterday, I was eating outside, and there was a bee that landed on my lobster roll, and I flicked it.
The bee or the lobster roll? Oh my God! Did he just land on your face?
My lobster roll went on the person sitting next to me, but he didn't see it happen.
You're giving me like such bad anxiety. I can't even watch.
It really is uncomfortable. I love it. I
literally can't watch. I'm allergic to bees. It's giving me anxiety. My eyes are closed right now. Tell me when it's gone.
Okay, I like that you turned off the camera, but I still think you got to turn off the screen, not the camera. That's I think how that one works.
What? That was me closing my eyes.
Yeah, now
closing my eyes.
He's gone.
Is it gone? Okay, it's leaving you alone. Race number 8. So Michelle is busting out the champagne if we can get number 1 by Hubby Hello Money in. JK likes that one. Also Irish Constitution. I imagine there'll be a little exacta action there. And then for me, I thought Honey Money was pretty interesting into 9-2 now. Jim Silva says the B is a sign for Honey Money. I agree. So I'm doubling my bet based on that hunch play. Shout outs to everybody. Everybody watching along at home. Hello to Ray. And I think we've got everybody else before, but feel free. Hit us up with some, we'll look at some more races after this. We've got plenty to talk about, but we should have time to get to some of your questions if you have other Breeders' Cup stuff for Michelle and JK to fight about. We always enjoy that. Thoughts on spaghetti bolognese, whatever it happens to be, no question is too absurd for this lot when we get together. That much is for sure as we're loaded into the gate here, but for a couple of runners for this 8th race at Belmont Park. After this, why don't we pivot to what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about in the next segment? Should we look at Belmont Saturday? Should we look at these Keeneland races? What's anybody feeling?
Not Belmont Saturday. I don't have Belmont Saturday. I only have Keeneland.
Okay, we'll look at Keeneland then. And we'll make it work. Did the B come back? What's going on over there?
Oh, he's back. But as soon as he lands in the wrong spot, I'm going to end him.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Is that loud? Is Peter going to call?
They might, but it won't be the first time. We've had a great
count What's going on with the favorite?
The favorite broke through, and they didn't get very far. So the state vet will take a quick look here, and we'll see if we're going to be ready for a start or if we're going to have a slight delay for Belmont's 8th race. Didn't look like a terrible breakthrough.
Cancel wager.
we were against this horse, so it in theory works.
Yeah, but it was the 9-5 favorite, right? So that means a lot of people have bet. But I always cancel wager if a horse breaks through the gate.
I tend to agree with you. On balance, it's very rare that it has backfired. I'll say that much too. But apparently, the horse looks good. Back in the gate, and we'll be ready for a start. Let's see. After busting through, how did this horse break? Okay, right there on top for the important one. Where are our horses? The 1 is a bit buried.
Is that how you call the race?
Oh, no, I'm not calling a race. I'm just talking.
Can we just kind of call it the important one out in front? Beautiful Karen pressing the pace down along the inside. Honey Money is going after that money. Honey, in between a Will Away and along the outside is Irish Constitution. No change in the racing order as they come around the turn. It's still the important one who tried to get the jump on the rest of the field by breaking through the gate. But here comes Beautiful Karen looking stellar along the outside. The second flight has no change in order as this field is running around here like a bunch of trained circus animals.
That could be one of your catchphrases,
right?
When you start doing this.
The important one still holding on. Beautiful Karen wants to head to the right instead of heading left. Here comes a late charge from Bye Hubby Hello Money, but I don't think she's gonna get there in time.
It would really have to fall apart.
Yeah. No, I ran second. That's all right.
Is that good enough to bust out the champagne? And of course.
Maybe, I guess.
Of course, we put the mush on the important one, saying to cancel the bets, and
yeah, I have to go get the champagne. I'll be back.
Okay, good. That really did not take much of an arm twist, did it? Come to think.
Let's talk bad about her while she's gone.
I can't. I could never.
Hey, Pete, I bought champagne for Michelle when she was in Saratoga, so I'm finally clear on that 4-year wager.
I was going to say that was next. My Lagavulin 16 is going to show up from when you slept through the show in Vegas 5 years ago.
Dang, I remember that. Pete, I got to listen back to that. There is
you'll
way
die.
I was sober when I did that show.
Well, no, you did. You missed. That one you missed the entire. You are right. There was another one. The original one you did not. There it is. The original one you didn't show up at all. And I think I got Craig Milkowski to pinch hit for you at the 11th hour. But there was another one where you were like 15 minutes late, and I was seething because I was like, he did it again. He told me he wasn't going to do it. And that one, I'm sure, clearly drunk on. And that's where.
I was in Vegas. What was I supposed to do?
I get it. Oh, we have a good question that we need Michelle's thoughts on about Dr. Scheibel. John Gasper's chiming in. Well, wait till you get back. You can get sorted out. We also have a very important pasta sauce conversation with cacio e pepe, amatriciana, and carbonara getting the nod over bolognese for John Gasper. It's situational for me. It all depends on the mood.
I was specifically talking to him about a specific restaurant. So
we can only guess which one. If we regular listeners to the show.
I actually love carbonara, but most people screw it up and they add cream, and there's no cream in carbonara.
Don't need cream in carbonara. You just need those egg whites.
Egg yellows.
Yeah. Well, the yellows on. I like it with the white coats, and then you pop the yolk right in the middle.
Oh no, you
gotta
make.
Pasta.
See, I rarely make an appearance. Bacon fat
Producer
and
Craig's cutting in for a second. I make a mean spaghetti carbonara.
Producer Craig chiming in. You cook? You learn.
Oh yeah, I love.
Well, hold on. Time out.
Yes.
This conversation, I'm going to defer to the man whose last name is Fornatal, not you and not Gorbunov.
Hey,
guys.
How many people have multiple restaurants in their family on this show? Just me? Okay.
Hey, and your name, and to be fair, Michelle, your last name does end in a vowel. So I mean, we can kind of let you in off the goalpost on both fronts. But anyway, tell me quickly what you're talking about. I mean, to me, the best way to do it is what I said. You put the little yolk goes in the middle, and you use the white to make the sauce. She's shaking her head no.
How does what? No. What you do is you cook your guarnischal, or I just use bacon because I used to cook bacon and I'm cheap.
Guanciale. So we're going to work on that pronunciation. Okay. Guanciale. But very good. Much
Instead of the guanciale, I just used the cut bacon, so I cheat there a little bit, right? But then
you're already losing without the guanciale, okay?
And I temper some of my egg yolk with it, exclusively yolk. So I do like 3 egg yolks, right? And temper it with the bacon fat. And then I add in like a whole egg, and then I add in like 2 cups of Parmesan and mix it together. And then I chuck it in with just pasta water.
It's very similar. I just do it a little different where I pop the yolk on top of there. It cooks in the heat of the pasta because it's so you pop it on there like immediately, and it's silky and lovely. Anyway, enough food. Though I am very curious to make Craig cook for me now that I know that he's got that club in his bag. The next time
do you guys live together?
We don't, but we're close. He's in New Jersey. It's a little bit of you can't get there from here, Brooklyn to New Jersey, but we still make it happen every now and again. Such is my affection for the man. Let's talk about some racing at Keeneland tomorrow, guys. What do you think? I
thought you had a question about Dr. Scheibel.
Oh, thank you. That was going to be a host fail. Gee, I wonder how, with you two running the train off the rails, how I had a host fail in this show. Dr. Scheibel, is this a serious contender for the Breeders' Cup Sprint, a race that I have all but ceded in my mind to Jackie's Warrior?
I mean, I feel like he's a serious contender. He's done nothing wrong. He hasn't taken a bad step. That race was awesome the other day, right? And he did, he usually sits off and makes a run a little bit. And the way he just bowled through and was like, I'm going to take charge. I thought he looked fantastic. And I had not loved the way that he'd been training going into the race. I didn't think he looked anywhere near as dynamic as he did training up to the race at Del Mar, the Bing. So, that's to me very good. I don't know how you don't think he's a legitimate contender. If Flavien can, keep both reins and both irons, I feel like he's legit.
That was something to see the other day. JK, where do you stand on Dr. Scheibel? For me, I think he, it's almost like I'd say this. In a normal year, I would agree with all that. I just think Jackie's Warrior is special. But where do you stand on the sprint?
Yeah, Dr. Scheibel's a tricky one for me. I missed him in that 2-day pick 6. I use the outside horses, CZ Rocket, Flagstaff, and whoever this guy's back. Whoever the 8 horse was.
You know what that bee is? That bee is like me. It's like me as an animal, and I'm bugging you when you say the wrong thing.
I know. It's exactly what you're doing. It's exactly what I'm doing. God, why is it so close and hovering? I think the highest compliment you can give a thoroughbred is to call them a gorilla, and I think that Jackie's Warrior is a flat-out gorilla. I just think that horse is so talented. There's been a couple of times I've tried to get cute, not very many. I try to beat him with Life is Good, and at some point last year, but he is a freak. And I just, even in that race at Parks, I know he didn't race again, he didn't beat anybody, but he did it the right way. He ran quick enough early. He finished like a good horse. I think drawing it, obviously he draws the rail or something like that. He's going to have good horses outside of him, but he draws in the clear. I just don't think they can beat him. I just think he's that good.
Can I say one thing though? Like when you say his race at Parks, just to play devil's advocate.
Yep.
Like he outclassed them from go, right? So then he had like no pressure. And a lot of times when horses are good and they've got no pressure and nothing else going, they just roll on. I don't know if that would have been the same case if there had been other really good horses in there, just as visually brilliant as he was, right? I think that he is, like you say, I think he's a savage. He was awesome. Like I felt Maggie's tears after he won in Saratoga because like she was so impressed with him. But I do take his visually impressive Parks win just with a tiny grain of salt because he was outclassing the rest of them.
Right. And just for to bore the listeners with us agreeing and agreeing with each other, we can start being mad at each other in a second. I think that like your point is correct about Parks, but I've seen him do it before where he has taken adversity and turned his nose at it quickly. How
about the race before? Yeah, that race before was unbelievable.
Serious animal, and he turned him away from outside pressure. And I love horses that can take pressure from the outside. Golly, I thought for sure he was going to spit the bit in that race, and he drew away from a horse that's going to be probably odds on in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
It's going to be interesting to see. I'm definitely interested in future prices on both of those runners. I saw some 5-2 about Jackie's Warrior. I thought that sounded pretty good. And we saw somebody posting 9-2 on Life is Good. I don't think that's a findable price, but 5-2 on him in the Dirt Mile. I'd double those up, without question.
But I will say this about Jackie, the Breeders' Cup Sprint is the Breeders' Cup Sprint. There's going to be fast horses in there that can make him have to work early. And I do think he is the type of horse that if he draws the inside, it's not ideal because they're going to bet him. He'll be the favorite no matter what. And being drawn towards the inside, getting pressure from other fast horses, that's a chaos scenario for me. Not that he can't win or won't win from down there, but I think it becomes a more interesting race if he draws towards the inside.
Couple of comments from the gallery I want to get to, and then we can speed round some of these Keeneland Saturday races. Does Dr. Shivel's success at Del Mar specifically, Michelle, play into a part of why you like him?
No, yeah, I think it should be a factor just because a lot of horses like a certain racetrack and some tracks can be tricky. So that's obviously a plus in his corner, but he's shown enough affinity just for racing in general to not say that he's a one-track pony. So I'm not going to give him an extra plus because he's run good there, because he's run good everywhere. But you do have to take into consideration that some of the other horses have not ever run over that track and won't even get the opportunity to work over that track. And I think it can be a very quirky and tiring track, and we know it plays differently when the tides are in and out, so all of that does matter on that day.
I think it's interesting because back in the day, I think that there's this idea that was probably right that the West Coast racetracks were tighter, faster racetracks, and I think that's changed.
They're not faster now.
Yeah, I think we can all speculate as to why that's the case, but I think they're deeper. And I don't think they're as fast as they have been. I think that the East Coast tracks are actually faster than the West Coast tracks now. And so I think that we'll see that. I think you'll see horses that performed at a high level on the East Coast that might not like it as much on the West Coast. So, and those can kind of create those chaos situations that we see every year where some horse you can't imagine winning wins. A horse like Bar of Gold. I didn't see a scenario where she was going to win out in Belmont. She liked it. She appreciated it. She got a brilliant ride by IRAD, but the Breeders' Cup still has that happen where the best horse doesn't win. And that's why the Breeders' Cup is so fun. It's why we enjoy it as fans and also as horse players, from a betting proposition.
Daniel asks if we have any specific reason to worry about the travel for Jackie's Warrior. And I think you have to bet, you have to factor that in.
Isn't he already here?
Price. I don't know.
I would be surprised if Steve didn't send him out already.
I think he's here already.
So yeah, we'll have a line then on how he's adjusting.
So we've already had Go ahead.
Go ahead, Michelle. No, go ahead.
We've seen Asmussen do this before. especially like when he was sending runners to Dubai and everything like that. He said, like, there's two ways to think about it, right? You send them as soon as you possibly can, and you get them as much time there as possible, and you get them acclimated to where they're going to be, possibly a race under the belt, and then they run better because that's their new home. Or you send them at the last minute, which is what we tend to see from like Aiden O'Brien. They ship in like the last day they possibly have to, spend as little time there as possible, run them off the plane, and send them home, right? So I know Steve's already had a contingent here. I know the Echo Zulu's already here. I'm pretty sure Jockey's Warrior's here, but I have not been out in the mornings at Santa Anita, so I can't verify that like from my own eyes. But they're going with that method of bringing them out and getting them acclimated. And I wouldn't be surprised when they open Del Mar back up if they moved their barn down there too.
It makes sense. I mean, for me, I still would say I would want to build in just like whatever, one tick in the odds, but if a horse hasn't run in the afternoon in anger over a surface. But, if you're talking about 5-2 on a horse, I think is even money to win the race. Like I'm getting much more than compensated in price.
You're gonna, but in this day and age, we're gonna have seen, like Michelle said, he's already there. We're gonna have seen him have worked 3 times over the surface.
Mm-hmm.
You'll know.
It makes you feel better about it.
You'll know. You'll know if he's getting over it well. He's a talented horse who always works well. So, if he's out there not appreciating it, I would imagine that the people who I think we all trust when their opinions, I think they'll let us know. And give me Steve Asmussen, the winningest trainer in North America, for shipping a horse. I'll take that.
Let's. There's some other good questions. We're going to leave them there for now. I want to speed round through these Keeneland Stakes on Saturday. We'll start off with race number 6, the Grade 2 Woodford. Return to the races of Golden Pal, listed at odds on in the morning line. That might be short enough for me based on the effort at York that I found, I'm sure everybody found, to be very disappointing. Curious to hear what you guys think. Michelle, we'll start with you, and I'll ask it this way. Does Golden Pal deserve to be an odds-on shot for the Grade 2 Woodford?
Hold on, I'm paging back up to it. There's 100 pages of Keeneland right now.
I mean, like, my short answer is no. This is a horse that if it was odds against, I would, obviously be wanting to take a lot more seriously. I think he's going to have, I think he's got a lot to prove to me. I'd want him in the mix, but I thought Firecrow was a very interesting alternative. This horse, Firecrow, set a very fast, unsustainably fast pace off the bench. I actually really like the fact that we're back in just 2 weeks. I think Firecrow's got to move forward. I think he might be able to prove the best speed and win. Maybe he gets the starch taken out of him by Golden Pal, but on pace figures, I think he can give Golden Pal and all the rest all they can handle. I don't mind him one bit at the 9-2 with the morning line. Curious though, Michelle, to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Firecrow is super intriguing. They actually had entered him in like the Keeneland racing age sale, and I think so many people were looking at him and they were like, "Oh no, maybe we don't want to get rid of this horse right away." So I think that he is worth a look, but like you said, could take a little bit of like heat up front. I'm gonna give Golden Pal a pass on his Nunthorpe, and he hasn't been anything but good stateside. You also take into consideration the fact that he traveled last year and didn't win. So maybe he's just not as good outside the States. Like you can be the best horse here and not be as good over there and still be Lynx the best in stateside. You get third, start off a layoff for him. You're going to get a new rider in Johnny V, but I feel like Johnny V right now is having like a banner end of summer, like going into Breeders' Cup. He's really hitting a high roll. So I think Golden Pal is squarely the horse to be, and I'm not scared by his effort last time.
JK, how do you see it? Are you with Golden Pal or against?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about his effort last time. I just think, he's a talented horse, and he's kind of got that wow factor, but his speed figures aren't like daunting fast. Look, I would think there's going to be value on Extravagant.
Isn't that because it's like always geared down though?
Yeah, but yes, but he is geared down. But I think you start playing the gear down game when you're looking at speed figures. It could lead down a dark alley that you might not want to go down. He's right there. I'm not trying to toss the horse or beat the horse. I just don't think he is that, single turn the page. Extravagant Kid is a hard knocking older horse who I think has numbers that are faster than anything Golden Pal's ever run, and he can beat him. And he's drawn outside of Golden Pal, which I think is another kind of big advantage for him. So, multi-race wise, and I love to single a horse, especially a horse like that. But I'd have to have Extravagant Kid as well.
He'd be the other one I'd want to use with Fire Crow. I'd probably play
I
Fire
don't need
Crow
Fire
first and
Crow really
second.
though, just for the sake of
What don't you like about him?
It's not that I don't like anything about him. It's just that I just feel like one of the other two will show up. It's one of those deals where I don't have a problem with Fire Crow, but if one of them shows up, they'll beat him. And this is nothing against Ron Ket, but he does a lot of damage at Oaklawn, and I just don't look at him as this daunting turf trainer.
I mean, for me, it's all about the individual. I just thought that Turf Monster run was huge in terms of pace figures, and feels like a horse who's supposed to move up.
Is it the race where the horse was 107 to 1 that won?
Yeah, that's
Hollywood Talent.
That was supposed to. There was that one horse that was supposed to be running in there, and then they kept saying, "Oh, that's going to be our prep for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint," and then he didn't run in there.
Which horse is that?
I can't think right now because
that was the Beer Can Man race.
Yeah, and Beer Can Man ran second.
Yeah, he ran well.
They're here's the thing. You're Beer Can Man, Billy's hoping to get in the Breeders' Cup with Beer Can Man off of the effort, and the horse that finished behind him, we're saying is going to be better than Golden Pal. But
I mean, to me, I don't. Usually, I am going to question the form of a race where there's a 100-to-1 winner, but not so much when it's a pace meltdown and the horse I want out of the race was off a layoff that day, setting crazy fractions. Anyway, we said we were going to go quickly, so let's move it along. Race number 7. We've got the TCA going 6 furlongs, and this is a race where I am with the favorite, even though I don't think she's going to get much pace to run into. It's my contention that Bell's the one. As much as I respect Estilo Talentoso and Frank's Rocket and all the rest in here, I think Bell's the one. Might be a different class. We've seen her quicken to win off slow gallops before. As long as she's odds against, 7 to 5-ish, I'm going to pin my colors to her mast, I think. Michelle, how do you see it?
I also like her. You mentioned the other horse that I was thinking of, although I played with the idea of In the Midst of Biz, who won this race last year, thinking okay, well, she came off the bench to run at Prask and maybe she doesn't love the synthetic, but then I noticed that she won the satin and lace last year. So I'm well, I can't use that argument, but maybe it could just be as simple as she needed the race because last year we did see her come off the bench and lose a race and then win. So maybe it's the same pattern, right? She came off the bench, she loses the race, and then it's win. So I feel like if her price is good, she's playable to me because she's going to have a jump on Bell's the One.
Yeah, she could be the clear speed according to Timeform US in a situation that favors it. I definitely like the idea of her at a price as a potential best speed to mess around with in here. If Bell's the One wins, it feels like it'll be somebody getting loose, and she just never is able to get into it. So I don't hate the idea of a 3-6 backup or some 3s on horizontal tickets. How about you, JK? What do you like in here?
Yeah, I mean, I've been mad at Frank's Rocket since the 2019 Spinaway when I was on the roof at Saratoga and I needed her for my lungs. And she let Perfect Alibi beat her. She could get loose in here, though. That's the biggest thing. And she's really good going 6. I mean, a lot of times she's some of her races that haven't been as well, does well when she's either got pressure or gone longer. So, there's an argument from a sneaky perspective that she could, kind of get away from the inside, but I think the winner is either going to be Bell's the One or Estilo Talentoso. Those are the two horses that make the most sense. Bell's the One came in off a little bit of a break, and I'm pretty sure Richie said this over the air, so I don't feel bad. I don't think it was something he whispered to me, but he was a little bit concerned about Corey's health last time. Just didn't look like he was battling that injury, and if I'm not mistaken, he was injured, but he kind of came back to make sure he didn't, he was on this filly, and so I'm hoping that with some time, maybe Corey's in a better situation as well with Bell's the One. She ran fine last time, so I don't have anything overly creative. I think one of those two will win, the 4 or the 6, but I guess you could make a case for Frank's Rocket to wire the field if she's gets away from there clean from the inside.
Race 8, we've got grade 1 action with the First Lady, a spot where if I could bet off the morning line, I would take Empress Josephine and be done with it. I think this filly looks like she'll be suited to the USA Racing. Went very well left-handed the last day. Has form, I think, to potentially beat these. I don't know that we're really going to see 10-1. You know, I certainly respect Alpiqua, but just from here, I'd make Empress Josephine a classic winner who should be suited to USA Racing and can race fairly handily. My pick in this spot. Michelle, what do you like in the First Lady?
I was kind of off Empress Josephine because I'm concerned about the ground being too firm for liking. Again, my weather app doesn't work, so maybe Keeneland's going to get some rain. But we do know Keeneland still drains really, really well. So I just don't know, looking at her, if she wants to hear her feet rattle. Like, that might happen, and she might be like, whoa, what the heck is going on? Am I running down a road right now? And we do know that Althea, is that her name?
I say Alpiqua, but you know,
okay,
close enough.
Better. JK, you watched her live. Tell me, how do you say her name? Alpiqua?
I say Altica.
Altica. That's what I said too. You're wrong, Pete. All right, I'm looking at JK.
Oh, you had an extra syllable in there the first time you said it. I said
Alpiqua. All right.
Well,
that's what I said. Okay.
You are the guy. You did call it the Alcibiades.
So I think that the 3 is the horse to beat. I'm going to use her with the 9 blowout for Chad Brown. She faced males last time. I think back to fillies is going to be a good thing. He traveled her around a little bit, and I feel like she's one of those good hard knocking horses that carries her game everywhere. She gets Flavian aboard, and Flavian can ride with no reins, no stirrups. He don't care. Just put me on a horse. I'm going to win a race. So I like that combination, and I think that she's well drawn with the way she likes to run. So those are the 2 horses that I like, the 3 and the 9.
Those would be 2 that I would want with Empress Josephine. And then the other I'll just give a quick shout for before we throw it to JK is I wonder if Regal Glory could get a little bit like 5-1 is fine, but this is going to be a really interesting race to see how they bet. And she'd be one I want to just keep on my radar to see if she gets a little bit ignored, because she's been really, really good. And that trip in the Just a Game that she had was not fun. Like, I don't think there's that much necessarily between her and Alpiqua. We'll see how they bet, but this is a race where my short list is pretty long. What do you think, JK?
Yeah, I mean, it's a spread race for me. I mean, I was going to defer to you on the Empress Josephine thing. Whatever. I'm not taking. This is a wide open race. I'm not going to toss her. I'll have to use Altica. I'll use. The one that I did think it was interesting that I wanted to have was Daddy is a Legend. I think Daddy is the type of horse that, like, at one point, remember, I mean, she was like the soft rival of Rushing Fall, and and then she kind of came in and out of form. I thought she ran well enough in the Just a Game. I thought she ran well enough against the boys in the 4-star Dave. And I just think she's a horse that's interesting. She gets Julian for the first time, and George has always said about this horse that you can't move too early on her. If you think you need to wait a little bit longer, and then wait some more, and then wait, and then go.
A tricky ride, in other words.
And I just feel like that fits my man Julian pretty well. At least when I'm screaming on TV, "Go Julian, go!" I would think that could fit her really well. So I think she's interesting. And it would be great for her to get a grade 1 score in a race like this.
We got 2 more grade 1s.
I'm literally using like 9 horses in this race. The only horse that I won't be using, because I think there'll be some value in getting rid of, is Viadera. I think she's a good horse, but I don't see her overcoming that outside draw.
It's a tough post, that's for sure. We got 2 minutes at Belmont. We will come back very quickly, speed roundy, and do the other 2 grade 1s. Maybe one before and maybe one after this race becomes official. I don't know, Michelle, if you need to study up for the race call we're going to make you do on this one, but I do want to give our opinions on the final contest race, the one that'll decide who advances to next week in these Horseplayer Happy Hour playoffs. Hit the nail getting in here, certainly very, very important. Include big trip on debut at this level, 2 starts against better. Just makes all the sense in the world. I thought the interesting one, maybe at a price, was the 3 Frosted Bourbon. Bet hard against better. Now here with Lasix and a tag. Has to overcome that long layoff. Maybe there's negative betting signal in this one being 9-1, but I got to use 13 and 3 for me. Michelle, what do you like at Belmont?
For me, my topic was the 5 Bella Principessa for Rudy Rodriguez, coming off a second place finish at this level. Last time out, going to get a slight turn back in distance here, but I feel like that could be a good thing for her because it looked like she was going to be hitting the front at any point in that particular scenario, going the mile and a 16th last time out. So the flat mile should really hit her square between the eyes. And then my second pick was the 10 Tails of McKenna, 7-2 right now for George Weaver. This one needs someone up front to help her out. Her lone try routing on the grass, she came way on the outside, ran down a bunch of horse to finish second, and she's been training forwardly since. Second off the break for George Weaver, 21%. So I think that she is a horse with some upside as well.
Definitely logical contenders both. JK, who do you like to close it out at Belmont?
Yeah, I kind of the 7 spilled the tea a little bit. It's a horse getting maiden claiming company for the first time. Took a little bit of money. Going a little bit shorter, the 7.5 at Gulfstream, which is 2 turns. But switching to Danny Gargan, you get Louis Saez, Flying P Stable. I know they can be aggressive, and they're not going to hold on to a horse that doesn't need to be held on to in terms of dropping in for a tag. So I thought the 7 spilled the tea made sense, and obviously the 10 and the 13 are the horses to beat. But I think 7 out of 10 value of 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, those sound like, I feel like we've covered every potential contender in this nightcap here at Belmont. They're loading. Let's quickly go back to Keeneland. I know we're going to be kind of rushed through this, but these are Grade 1 races, and at the very least, I want to give a quick thought as to what we think. Breeders' Futurity is next up. Grade 1 action in race number 9. Key pointers for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Assuming Michelle's studying the colors to do this race call, JK, we'll get your thought on this, and then maybe we'll bring her in after.
Yeah, look, I love the 13 Classic Causeway. The horse was impressive. His head from the inside at Saratoga. Look, if you win by open lengths at Saratoga in one of those maiden races, you're a real racehorse. And then the 3 Stellar Tap, I'll give another chance. That horse was impressive on debut in a good maiden race. In the race where Steve Asmussen broke the record, I think Stellar Tap is another one to give another shot to. But I think the outside horse Classic Causeway is going to be hard to beat.
I was pretty interested in Great Escape in this spot. We're almost ready for a beginning here.
They're off. And it's going to be Hit the Nail off the also eligibles to race up. But here for the lead is the one, Barrel of Bliss. Barrel of Bliss going to take him through at 99-1 right now and set the early tempo. I know you ain't talking to me is close in behind. It looks like 13 had to steady very severely. 13 Hit the Nail went from second to last in a absolute blink of an eye. Frosted Bourbon now going to be taking over the advantage, and Frosted Bourbon going to be opening up. Are they not going to give me any chiclets at the bottom to see these? Barrel of Bliss is still in second, and I know you ain't talking to me is in third, although losing ground steadily. Come along on the inside there is Spun for Lulu and trying to move up the rail. It looks like Bella Principessa. Frosted Bourbon is chilly on the front end. Barrel of Bliss now trying to cut into that advantage, and we still have Bella Principessa making up ground like an absolute freight train down along the inside. It is the lead to Frosted Bourbon, but losing that advantage very quickly to Bella Principessa, who's coming now on the outside. Barrel of Bliss trying to make up ground, and on the extreme outside, here comes Tails of McKenna. Tails of McKenna trying to make a race of it right now, but still holding tight to that lead is Frosted Bourbon. Bella Principessa hits the lead on here, and it's going to be Tails of McKenna pressing from the outside. A second rally from the unlucky Hit the Nail. It's Tails of McKenna, Bella Principessa. These two making it close at the wire, and my screen froze.
Oh, what a great
Bella
call.
Principessa still on the lead, and for the win for Michelle.
That was brilliant stuff. With no chiclets, the screen freeze, nothing can stop her, people. The irrepressible Michelle Yu. Absolutely great race call and a great
Michelle.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is one of us here has a phone number of someone that can turn the chiclets off. No, I'm just kidding.
He would do that though.
Hey, JK, but only one of us has given away winners this day.
Oh my goodness gracious. Two
That's
wins
fair.
in a second. Red hot tipping for Michelle Yu with the 2 wins and a second, and prices too. Scoring out there at 7-2 in the Belmont nightcap. What a bizarre run that was from the favorite. No idea what was happening there.
No idea what happened, that poor horse.
But let's get back and talk really quick about these other 2 grade 1s. I thought Great Escape was another one of these who just shapes like this added ground is going to be the friend, going from 6 to now 7 and stretching out by Midnight Storm out of the Indian Charlie mare. I thought 8-1 in the morning line. I was pretty interested in what Great Escape has to offer. We talked about Ken McPeak in the other baby race and the potential advantages of having that race going along. I thought Rattle and Roll was interesting, closed very well going along without the benefit of a setup. Could get a great setup in this spot. And then the other one I just wanted to mention, just in case the form of that Great Escape race ends up being...
He's on his ninth horse right now.
What's that?
Pete's on his ninth
This
horse
is my
right
third horse. I went 9, I went 6, and I'm going to throw the 4 in there for underneath as well. Seal Beach has impressed me in every single run. Probably not good enough to win, but if I'm right about the quality of that last race, I think it maybe clunk up and get third and juice up your trifecta at 20-1 plus. Michelle, who do you like in the Breeders' Futurity?
I like the one Double Thunder for trainer Todd Pletcher. I think a nice pedigree to go the route there, and he finally got to go 2 turns at Monmouth last time and did win the sapling. Geared down, like we like to say, and also getting the rail draw that day, and he gets the rail draw again here. So I think he's intriguing, maybe a horse on the upswing. I also like the 6 Rattle and Roll, like you mentioned, for all those reasons. And the 11 Costa Terra for Winchell Thoroughbreds. This is a half-brother to Pneumatic, a horse that's near and dear to me. So I really like this horse as he's going to stretch out in ground for the first time. But I like the fact that, I thought that he ran well in the juvenile at Ellis Park, trying to show that he was professional, didn't get the job done, but I think more ground's going to work in his favor. So I like Costa Terra as well.
Speed round of all speed rounds for our next race, the Keeneland Turf Mile. I can do it in 3 words: Order of Australia. And the case is simply, this is the figure and form horse. And I think if he shows up, we saw how well he ran here last year. I think they're all running for second if he runs his representative race. Very curious, Michelle, what you like in this Keeneland Turf Mile.
So it's funny. I actually think Order of Australia is coming into this race better than he was coming into the Breeders' Cup Mile last year.
By a lot.
So, I mean, he's definitely a play horse, but I like the 7 Pixelate for Mike Stidham coming off a win at Kentucky Downs last time out. He likes to win races. He can, string together good effort. So I think that he's really intriguing, although I don't want to see him as far back as we saw him last time. And I got to stick with my boy, Diamond Oops. I'm hoping for Biancone to have a big weekend. I just can't get away from Diamond Oops. Maybe he doesn't run as well at a mile, but he has run very well here at a mile before. And I just think that he's a hard knocker and a hard trier. And I think that Flo gets a lot of run out of this horse. So if, things fall apart, I think that Diamond Oops could possibly pick up these pieces.
Quick thought from you, JK, on this Keeneland Stakes Grade 1 Turf Mile.
Yeah, it's another tough race. I like something like a Hot Brown. I like that outside draw. The horse is tactical, kind of always shows up, and I feel like he'll be able to work out a little bit of a trip. There seems to be a lot of pace in here, and I feel like that means that everyone's going to grab. And Mike Maker's typically not the type of trainer that gives the instructions to grab in those situations. I think something like a Hot Brown will be a very big price. I think we'll work out a nice trip from the outside in the clear. I think it's a spread race. Don't get me wrong, but he's the type of horse I want to try to build some things around.
No choice to go but from that outside post, and on pace figures could be clear and is having a nice run of form. If Order of Australia doesn't show up for some reason, I could definitely see that scenario playing out. I think we have leaderboards. Let's run through these, and we'll let our panel. They've done enough, folks. We're going to let them get out of here. But let's roll through this really quickly. So this is the playoffs. We've got the top 20 advancing to next week. Very interested to see if we've got any double entered people. Don Marquardt, Stephen Dudnoff, John Gilpatrick, Pete Dressens, Daniel Edwards, Peter Savage, PJ Preskedis, Dylan Donnelly, Trey Crump, Jim Siebes, Truls Engebretson, Mark Henderson, Andrew Uretsky, David Browning, Don Marquardt, Matt Fagvolgi, CJ Arrigo, Gregory Lewis, Joe Solito, and Chris Couples. We'll see you next week. And then we're going to see just 10 of you the week after that to play for the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge seat. Let's go very quickly and give the name of our player who wins a Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge seat. Ronald Tang. He was out there pretty much from the get-go today. Gets it done with 80-10. There'll be breakage to the next several people involved. But Ronald Tang, the big winner, another BCBC seat being given away courtesy of Horseplayer Happy Hour. And again, thank you to everybody for playing. All this money going to our Thoroughbred Aftercare charities. Hopefully we'll do another qualifier next week. Tell your friends. Get them involved. This is the kind of thing where you might say, oh, but then there'll be more people playing. But well, first of all, we might be able to get to 2 full seats. And second of all, it's all to support our charities. And there's no better way to do it and have a chance to win a 5-figure prize. So let's do some thank yous. Michelle, unbelievable job as ever. What was the final tally on times you and JK agreed?
2 each.
2 each. Okay. All right. So we didn't quite get to 5, but that's almost 4. So it almost counts. JK, really enjoyed you. Thanks to the bee for not stinging JK in the face. It would have been a funny visual, but I'm too nice of a guy. I really didn't want to. I wasn't hoping that would happen.
JK, I'm sad you didn't wear your Breeders' Cup shirt today. Can I get one of those? I want the one with the horses on it.
You know what's funny is you got to holler at Breeders' Cup. That's a them thing.
Well,
That's a them
We'll see if we
thing.
can work something out.
We'll
Yeah,
talk.
it's
Maybe
okay.
we can do something, as a company around
It
the
needs
Breeders'
to
Cup.
be girl size though, because the JK, even the schmediums are like
Well, you did that wonderful tailoring
dress,
though. You did
yeah.
that wonderful tailoring.
yeah.
We'll talk offline. I have an angle on getting you one of those, Michelle.
There we
As soon as
go.
We can do something good together. I have some ideas for us to collaborate Breeders' Cup week, should your busy schedule allow. We'll find out. Got to thank Matt Bernier. I should have mentioned him up top. He's been on every one of these broadcasts this year. He was, he's in
You heard
some
I was on and didn't want to come, right?
I wasn't supposed to tell you that. The official story is he's at an undisclosed location in Stamford, Connecticut, if you get my drift. So, yeah, no Matt Bernier today, but we thank him in absentia. We thank everybody for playing. We thank producer Craig. We thank Haley Amos. We thank Justin McDonald, the entire team over at Horseplayers and the Breeders' Cup. Been so great to collaborate with. And then there were 2. We'll be back next week, folks. I think I'll be I'll either be at Keeneland or in a hotel near Keeneland. It's going to be a lot of fun. We hope to see you there. Play in the qualifier. Godspeed to our other players. This show's been a production of the Breeders' Cup and In the Money Media. On our side, our business manager is Drew Coatney. Our chief creative officer is that guy right there, Jonathon Kinchen. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatel. May you win all your photos.